Hi, I'm Carly Cornell.
And I'm Harvey Cornell, and we are Dragon Phoenix Games.
Today we're going to do something that's a little change of pace. Today we're going to share with you our top 10 favorite cooperative adaptations. So
That we've done.
yeah, among our set. We've done 45 or
46,
6, something like that. Adaptations, and we thought we'd rank them and let you guys know which ones you really need to look into because they're the funnest. Of course, we're calling it a top 10, and we're going to start with 12.
Well, that's because each one of us picked our top 10 and ranked them. But as it turns out, a couple of them were on my list that weren't on Carly's, and a couple of them were on Carly's list that weren't on mine. So 2 of them fell off the top 10 but got votes. So we decided to give them honorable mentions.
Yes, exactly. So at number 12, we have The Hobbit. This is by Reiner Knizia. We like the base game pretty well, but we really like the cooperative adaptation. I find that there's kind of a dramatic arc, just like the story to the game. It starts out as a pleasant enough walk, and it gets worse and worse and worse, and it's harder and harder to do, and I love the big battle at the end. So that's why this one made it. It was actually number 8 on my list.
Yeah, and this is one that wasn't in my top 10, but of the last 2 that weren't in my top 10, I gave this 12th place. I do like it. I like a lot of our 45, 46. I mean,
Yeah, and you said that
most of them I like
the
really
thing you
well.
like about this is the jewels.
Yeah, now in the game, the standard competitive game, there's different colored jewels, but there's no significance in the game to the colors of the jewels. It's just when you get a reward, you get some jewels and they count for points at the end of the game. We managed to take those gems and make the colors significant. There's 5 different colors, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
And each one of them has a special significance to the game. And that makes it really interesting because you get a chance to use them to help you, and each one helps you in a different way. So I really like the way that worked out.
Yeah. So, but for me, it's all about kicking monster butt, right?
Okay, and then our
So
other
number 11.
another honorable mention, Caverna by Uwe Rosenberg. We like a lot of his games. This is yeah, I think it's the only one of his. We actually have adapted 3 or 4. We've done Agricola, we've done Patchwork, we've done
Cottage Garden is
Cottage Garden. So we've done a number of his games, adaptations, but this is my personal favorite of those that we adapted. And the reason is, in the regular game, your dwarves can get weapons, and you get different rank of weapons. But what you do with them is, if you go adventuring, you get a higher level reward based on you get stuff based on what your weapon is. But you don't actually do the fighting aspect in the game. It's all very abstracted. It's just, okay, I went on an adventure, and based on my weapon level, this is the treasure or whatever that I got. And that's all well and good. I want to go kick some monster butt. My dwarf has a weapon, I want to do something with it, right? So maybe our adaptation makes it so that there's an ogre that's demanding tribute, and there's goblins all throughout the caves. And when you go on an adventure, you actually have to defeat a goblin to get anything. And every so often, you're having to pay tribute to the ogre, and at some point, you're not going to be able to keep up, and he's going to squash everybody. So, so what we have to do is you have to get all your dwarves together and all their weapon ranks and go defeat the ogre before he ends up squashing everybody for not being able to keep up with the tribute. And that's cool. I love the fact that the ogre is going to squash us all if we don't build up the strength to go squash him.
So, at number 10, we have Alien Frontiers.
By Tori Neiman.
And this one, what can I say? It's a space game. I love space games. They're great. In this one, we're playing against a bully player who's trying to come in and take all the colony areas before we can get any use out of them. And, you know, there's an escalating factor on this one too, so, yeah, what's not to like? And
Okay,
then...
so, Carly rated that one, what, 9?
9, and Harvey rated it 10, so it was
Okay.
10 overall.
And
This
then also
one-
Carly rated this
Yeah.
one higher than I did.
Yeah, this came in 9th overall. I rated it 7 and Harvey at 11. It got to be 7 for me just because I love this game. I like playing in Rome, and the thing that's cool about Concordia is that it focuses on the building and economic aspects of the Roman Empire and quite a bit less on the conquering. And somehow, even though I like kicking monster butt, I don't like kicking Harvey's butt. So I like the economic building.
And let's not forget to mention the designer, Matt
Yeah.
Gertz.
Yeah. So,
Great game.
and we like
Great
playing it
co-op.
together.
I like it a lot. Carly likes it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
In position number 8.
And this is the one game of Ryan Lockett's that made our top 10. And we have actually adapted, no, actually two, well, just one of them made the top 10, but we have actually adapted several of his. Ryan always does great art, you know. Owlbound is, you know, is a very competitive game the way it's designed, and probably wouldn't come out as much as a lot of other games for us just because we play a lot of games, just the two of us. It's just a little too competitive for us as a 2-player game, but when we convert it to a co-op, it is so great because then we're trying to beat the game, and it really escalates because you take over islands and then you can lose them again, and it gets and it just
Yeah,
gets to a
they go back
point
and
where you just like, if you don't hurry up and finish everything, then there's just going to be no way for you to get control
Yeah.
again. So it has such a great escalation.
So, at number 7 on our countdown.
Well, again, one that I get to introduce. This is one that I rated 5th, and Carly rated 12th, but overall it is what? 7th.
7.
So the Quest for El Dorado. Oh, and this is another Reiner Knizia game. Oh, he got 2 on the list, didn't
Yeah, he did.
This is even competitively, this is a great game. I love playing this game. I like trying to get my little adventure all the way to El Dorado. Really well designed game. But the thing that's great for our co-op is that we have 2 adventurers, but instead of Carly trying to get one to the in and I'm trying to get one to the end, we get to share them, and so either one of us can move either adventure on our turn. So that's really cool that we're really sharing the 2 adventures, and we have an adventure that we're competing against, and we can do things like trying to cut him off and everything, and his mechanic for movement is interesting, slightly different than ours.
Yeah,
So-
and he's awfully fast.
Yeah, he's fast. That's why you look for a way to cut him off, because sometimes if you don't block him somewhere, he's just going to slip through and you'll never catch him.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's fun.
So, all right.
Okay.
Next we have
At number 6, we have Karuba.
Karuba.
And I rated this one 6 and Harvey rated it 9.
This is by Rudiger Dorn.
Yeah. And what I love about our adaptation of this game is that an adventurer starts and crosses one board, and then he has to come back across the other player's board. And the same thing's true the other direction. We've got 2 of them coming this way, and then they have to come back across my board. And I love that. I mean, I love the base game because I like the puzzle. But having having to scamper across 2 different boards just cool.
Yeah. So yeah, none of the adventures make it all the way to their destination without both of us doing a good enough job. Because
Right.
one of us does the first half, the other does the second half, and then vice versa on the other
Right.
adventures. So
Right.
it takes both of us to get those
Yeah.
guys through there.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, looks like this one's mine to introduce also. At number 5. This is the Oracle of Delphi. Yeah, it is another Stefan Feld game.
2 of which made the list, right?
Yeah.
Just 2.
Yeah.
Although we've done a number of his games.
Yeah. But this one, we played this one for the first time at the BGG Con when it was being previewed from the
Spiel des Jahres.
the Spiel des Jahres that it had just won, and we loved it immediately. We like all things Greek. We
And we like most everything Feld does too. So
yeah,
great combination.
Good combination. With the cooperative mechanic trying to eat away the activities that we need to complete, and it's in there throwing away monsters and statues and temples and all kinds of stuff. We need to hustle in order to get it done, and that's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like racing.
Now the next one is my honor to introduce, but we both rated Grand Austria Hotel 4th. But I get to introduce it because Carly had a few more that she was introducing, so I get to introduce this one.
Yeah.
And this one is by Simone Luciani and Virginio
You want me to say this?
Yeah, you say
It's Simone Luciani and Virginio Gigli. Or
Okay.
Virginio, I think, actually, you'd say that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
good at pronouncing non-English names, so
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay, so but
17 years
Grand
ago,
Austria Hotel. Now, we like this game a lot, and we spend most of our gaming just the 2 of us. This is a great 2-player game, competitively or otherwise. 3 and 4 players, it does slow down a bit. It can get to be a longer game.
Between turns.
Long time between turns, and there's not much to do when it's not your turn. So it really does best at 2, and we enjoy it quite a bit competitively. But to be able to play it cooperatively, and what you're doing is you're splitting up all the, we put all the objectives in the game instead of a small number, and then they have to all be met by one or the other of us. It doesn't matter who. Well, not entirely. It does matter a little bit because you can't have one player do all of them and the other player do nothing.
Right.
But they all need to get done. And you also, if you don't keep up with the Emperor track, every round you're going to lose. So it's just cool that we have to do, again, it's kind of a completion thing. We got to do everything, but we do it together. So
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah. And it's hard.
Yeah, it can be hard.
So
Next.
Okay, number 3 and number 2 were in a dead tie. We rated one of us rated them 2 and 3, and the other rated it 3 and 2. So this is tied. It was more or less arbitrary that this came up than in this slot. So this is number 2. We skipped number 3. Terraforming Mars.
By Jacob Frixelius.
Yeah.
Swedish, I think, or
I don't
Norwegian.
know.
He's from some
Fricks Games anyway.
Yeah.
So what I like about the cooperative version of this is that we just build and build and build and build and build. And I love the complexity of the building. I love the puzzle of working it out. And I like having all the abilities you can get with the cards. And when we play cooperatively, by the time we're done, we've got this massive array of cards that we're using. And I love that. I think that's fun. And you gotta, every turn you spend some time thinking, what else can I do? Because I got all the stuff.
And I really like science stuff, and so terraforming Mars is such an interesting concept to me. And in the regular game, I mean, you play up to a certain point and see who won on points, but you haven't necessarily finished all the terraforming that the game allows for. And what we're trying to do
You
is
might not want to live there yet.
well, and even with the way the game's designed, I mean, it's not fully terraformed. I don't think it. Even if you run all the oxygen and the water and the temperature and everything, even if you do all those, it's not really fully terraformed. That's just what they allowed for in the game. But I really always feel a lack of completion, so I always want to have everything maxed out, and that's what we've done with this. Is that for you to win in the co-op, we have to max out each of these areas, and not only the oxygen and the temperature. We have to get all the oceans out. We have to get a certain
animals and greeneries and
there's requirements on everything. And so if you don't do everything, and if you do the Venus Next expansion, which we have also done the co-op for, and actually
more fun.
I don't know that we'll play it without that expansion. We haven't used the other expansion, but we have used Venus Next, and we have done the co-op on it. And then you also have to worry about getting the Venus up to the maximum on its terraforming rating.
Yeah.
And I love that. So, okay, next, the other second place game, another Steffenfeld game, the Castles of Burgundy. And so this has long been probably one of our, if not our very favorite board game. I know for a long time I said it was my favorite. I don't know. I mean, I can think of one other that we haven't made a co-op for because it doesn't need it, that I might say I like better. So it's not part of our stuff, so I won't mention it. But this is still one of my 2 or 3 favorite all-time games, played competitively. But I have this urge to complete things. And in Castles of Burgundy, you've got this grid where you're putting all these different types of, city tiles, farming tiles, the animals and the
shipping,
government and shipping and everything. But you can't really complete the grid. I want to complete the grid. Well, and that's what we did here in this game. We adjusted it so that you can complete the grid, and not only do you have to complete your grid, and your partner has to complete their grid, we have a third grid that we're working together. You've got to fill them all up to win.
It's a completionist's dream.
Yeah.
Will or nightmare, I'm not sure. Depends on whether you win or not, right?
So drum roll, please.
In number 1,
Valeria Card Kingdoms. And we both rated this our favorite cooperative adaptation. And I don't think it's even close. I love all these other ones out here. I would be sad if we didn't have any of these, but this one is easily our favorite cooperative adaptation.
A lot. In fact, it was out just this last week. We played it. We were sort of tired, and we didn't have the energy to play test our games, so we wanted to kick some monster butt.
Gotta make sure to mention the designer's name. Isaias Vallejo is the designer, who I have actually had the honor of communicating with a little bit online.
Yeah.
Because when he found out we were doing a co-op of his, he was interested to see what it was.
Yeah.
But this game, it's a good game on its own in a competitive form. But there are monsters in the game that, in the game, there is another way for you to get some points. But if you don't do anything about the monsters, that's all right. Just get enough points to win, right? Well,
try not to irritate them too badly, I guess.
But what we did is we made it where all the monsters are trying to overrun your kingdom. And if they do overrun your kingdom, of course, you die and lose.
A horrible death.
So, every round after the first round, we give you one round to kind of get your momentum going. But after that, you've got a horde of monsters coming at you every round, and any of them.
And sometimes they're really big bad monsters. They're really bad dragons and stuff.
And if any of them get through your defenses, they're gonna.
That's it. You're done.
They're gonna ravage your kingdom, and you're gonna lose. So you have to fight the monsters, and you have to keep up with them. And you put defenses out. You can try to repair your defenses, but
yeah, it's it can be very bloody, even as many times as we've played this, because as we say, it comes out a lot because it is our favorite.
You're
We still lose sometimes because, you know, sometimes those guys knock down your walls and you're done.
And not to make you think that we've totally changed the game. It's still an engine building game where you're building up your citizens, trying to create
Yep.
enough of an engine
Yep.
to do a lot of stuff. But the problem is you have to make decisions about how much effort you're devoting to killing monsters and how much effort you're devoting to building your citizenry up in your engine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're still doing that.
Yep.
It's just that you're doing that along with the fighting the monsters, and you have to
Yep.
make tough decisions. Like,
It is
well, I
tough.
could build my engine a little bit more, but then I may leave that other monster for the other player to try to deal with, and are they going to be able to handle that if I don't do it?
Yeah,
So
and
it's tough.
and sometimes it's really heartbreaking because you have to go kick one more monster butt, and you don't get to build another citizen this turn, and you can't buy a territory or domain rather, because you're using all your resources killing monsters, which stretches you thinner and thinner and thinner, and then you die. But we really like that, and we really, really like it when we win, and we kick their butts instead of them kicking ours.
So that's our top 10 plus 2 honorable mentions.
Yeah, so quick rundown in reverse order. The Hobbit, Caverna, Alien Frontiers, Concordia, Islebound, El Dorado, Karuba. Do you want to take the rest of the list?
The Oracle of Delphi, Grand Austria Hotel, Terraforming Mars and Venus Next, although I didn't put them in separately, and Castles of Burgundy. Those were tied for second, and our number 1 co-op adaptation is Valeria Card Kingdoms.
That's it. So, hope you enjoyed the reveal of our favorites, and go look them up.
Yeah, if you haven't tried some of these, and if you're interested in our co-ops at all, and if you haven't tried some of these, at least go look at our video. You really ought to try some of these because we think these are
Awesome
really
fun.
good.
So, enjoy the games. You'll find the rules and whatnot on our site at www.dragonphoenixgames.com. And thanks very much.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.